going to show you how to make these little cat plushies that they can play with. So you can really make these out of anything that you have around your house. You can just really get creative with it. But what I'm going to make them out of is just some felt. So what you do is you're going to take 2 felt squares that are about the same size, and you're going to want to cut your shape out of it. So since this is green, I'm going to try and maybe go for a leaf shape. And what I like to do is, because I cut the 2 squares at once, that's going to make the shape pretty even between the 2 pieces. Alright, so you cut out your shape and you remove your excess. And then what you're going to do from there is you're going to want to take a needle and thread. I'm using a contrasting thread just so you'll be able to see. And you're going to knot the end of your thread and put it through the back of what's going to be the front piece. And that's going to keep this excess tail just enclosed within the piece. So you put your 2 pieces back together, and you are just going to sew around the edge and leaving a little bit for stuffing. So what I do is I just go straight down, pull your thread through, and I go back up. And what I'm going to do, just because it's a little bit stronger, is I'm going to do a back stitch. So what you would do is, normally when you go sew, you would go forward and you go back down and then back up and down and up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back down back here where I put my first stitch. And that's just going to make it a little bit stronger. And just to show you again, you would go back up, going through both pieces, and then back down where the last stitch was. And then just to show you one more time, up, and then back down. And so we're going to keep doing that all the way around the perimeter, and maybe leave, this looks like about like a millimeter or so. You don't want to keep it too close to the edge, because then it might just fall off the fabric. So you want to leave a little bit of a border, but you don't want to leave too much of a border, because then it might not look as nice. So let's do one more where we go up and then back down. Okay, so I made a shape earlier. I made this heart shape just so I could show you what you do once you get to where you're going to put your stuffing in. So for this, I left, I'd say that's about 1 inch of opening, just so you can put your stuffing in. And cats are really fun to make these kind of plushies for, because they love all kinds of stuff. So you could put in fabric scraps or pillow stuffing like people normally would with a little plushie, but some cats really like that crinkle. So I'd recommend, if you want to do that, you could put in, I've tried paper, that's not as great. I would really recommend putting in some plastic, like from a plastic bag. And you don't have to put a whole lot in, because if you put a little bit less in, it's going to make more of that good crinkle sound that cats love. And so you would just kind of put it in that opening, and then kind of pinch that opening back closed again. And then you would just sew it up. And so we're going to be doing the exact same thing we did before, where we give a little bit of a gap and go up, and then we go back where the last stitch was. And usually when you do these kind of sewing projects, you're going to want a matching thread, but I just kind of like the way that this contrasting thread looks, so I really recommend just playing around. Another thing that you could do with this that's really good is, if you have any catnip and you want to stuff this with a little bit of catnip in addition to your paper or plastic or foam or whatever you're putting it with, I'm sure that your cat would love that. Alright, so this is the last stitch where we're going up where we first started our line, and then back down to the previous. And so the way I like to do this, just to make it a little neater, is I like to put my needle through one of the old stitches. If you can see that, I just put it through, And when you make a loop, you put the needle through the loop and pull that loop closed. And then you would pull the needle through one more time. And then this is my trick, as I put it through another old stitch, just so you don't see that knot there. And then you put it through one more old stitch, but then you just go directly into the little thing that you've created. And you try and pull the needle out in the middle. And that way, when you pull the thread tight and you snip your excess, it's just going to disappear. Alright, so I hope you like this. If you do like this video, or if you try it yourself, we'd love to see what you make. We are EVPL Library across all